Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blog of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts between Taminas on Oraa Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends watching Oxford Community Television and also those watching on YouTube. This week we got Ian Locke back this week.
I'm back, Sam.
Yes, it is.
What's this, 4 straight weeks?
4 straight weeks, yes.
Nice.
Ever since we went to radio, you know what I mean? And it's great day. It's a great day. It's a beautiful day outside.
Oh,
really?
Thank goodness. The weekend was awful.
Oh,
Could we had any more waterfall out of the sky?
I don't know. I mean,
or snow?
Yeah, I mean, you really look at it. I mean, of course, you know what's also funny? All 3 OA teams are in the state are 2 state finals.
Unbelievable.
3 of them.
Unbelievable.
3 teams. You know, we'll recap each game and also we'll preview the state championship matchups between 2 teams in the same division.
Red.
Yep. And you got one team in the white, well-known name, taking on a powerhouse.
Unbelievable.
You know, so let's recap these games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, let's go with Division 3. And I watched a little bit of this game.
Now, where did you watch it, Sam?
I was I was actually on a Saturday watching a basketball scrimmage. So I was watching on top of the hill at Rochester High School in the back.
Okay.
And it was Harrison against Riverview. And Harrison won that game 21-0. I mean, Riverview just ran, they ran a wing T offense. They run a wing T. And they didn't throw it much. I think they only threw it like 4 times.
4 times the whole day.
Yep. And Harrison, on the other hand, Riverview just dominated time possession. It really did.
What time of day did they run that game?
They actually played that game. It was a noon o'clock. It was 12 o'clock. It was a noon game because Rochester High had some things going on, like a dance and all that.
Okay. So it's before the weather got real bad.
It was before the weather got really bad, whereas when you're playing at the 1 o'clock games, it got really bad.
Oh, it was awful.
Yep. But anyway, the game started off interesting. Riverview just ran that wing T down, you know what I mean? Tried to limit Harrison's offense. You know how many plays Harrison ran in the first half?
How many?
14.
That's it?
14 plays. What does that say? 14.
Big plays.
And they scored 2 touchdowns.
Crazy.
So the first one was
that is astounding. That just hit me.
They just ran 14 plays. One of the plays to start off was a 43-yard touchdown run from Joe Stevens. Joe Stevens, a transfer from Farmington.
Okay.
And he ran 43 yards. And then the other one was a 64-yard touchdown from Roderick Hurd.
Big plays.
Riverview's defense is not the greatest. It really wasn't. They allowed the Pirates allowed 31 points against Dearborn Devon Child last week.
Yeah.
The other week. So, and then, to make it more interesting in the second half, Noah Hendricks throws a screen pass to Hurd for a 45-yard touchdown to pay dirt.
Big plays.
Yeah.
That's astounding.
Yeah, and you know what the difference was in that game was Harrison converted on their big plays. Riverview did not.
Yeah.
Riverview had at least 2 chances near the goal line, just could not get it in. They couldn't get in. They run that wing T offense. It's a misdirectional offense. And they couldn't get in against Harrison.
And Harrison seemed to have figured him out before the gun.
They figured him out, And you look at John Harrington's teams, they're athletic. They're well coached. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They've been that.
And that's what we were saying last week, in the preview of that game. It's like, I didn't know much about Riverview. They were scoring some points on people, right?
Right, but they run that wing T.
But but if you, like we said, it's kind of one-dimensional. You figure it out, it kind of shuts it down.
If you stop the run and you force the team to have to go out of its own element, then you got issues. You seriously got some issues. When you look at what happened in that game, basically Riverview they wanted to just time a possession football, try to run different misdirections off the wing T, but knowing Harrison's intelligent. Their coaching staff's very good. What happened was, Harrison figured him out. Yep. And then Harrison just ran it all over. Riverview's defense, as mentioned, was not great.
Yeah.
They're not good. But Harrison just took advantage of what was given to him. Of course, playing in the rain.
And that's what good teams do.
Yeah, that's what good football teams do, I mean, for Harrison now, this is going to be their first state final since 2010. Harrison is 91-19 overall in the postseason play. They're 91-19.
Crazy.
That's it's going to be their 18th state championship appearance.
18.
Going for state championship number 14. What does that say about Harrison?
Legacy. I mean, they've been there, done that. They've been doing it forever. We go back to what we were talking the last couple of weeks, saying, hey, can they get this far? Mm-hmm. And like I said, for me, it's a sentimental favorite. Harrington, the coach. He's a great coach. And you like to see the great coaches do well. Mm-hmm. And his team rallied for him, and they're playing fantastic right now.
They're playing well. You know what I mean? They're playing very well. I mean, like when you look at, here's a team that doesn't have a lot of depth. They don't have, they're going to be closing their doors in 2 years. Mm-hmm. And you look at how that team just have gelled ever since it lost Oak Park.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since that loss, really have, actually it was not, I thought it was the Groves they lost.
Let me dig it up. Let's see.
But ever since, I know it was a loss that, I think probably the Groves or Oak Park. I mean,
all right.
Harrison finally woke up
from
the
Hills Harrison.
Yep, they woke up from the fringes.
So here's their loss.
Yeah.
All season they
lost East Kent, what I know, and then they ended up losing, I believe, either to I think it was the Groves, I believe.
It was Groves. Birmingham Groves. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So,
and then there was white crossover against Clarkston.
Against Clarkston, yeah. I mean, but I think ever since that loss to Groves, they have turned the corner. They have really turned that corner, to believe that. And the thing for Harrison is, it's kind of funny because their playoff journey, every game they went was on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Warren Woods Tower, Warren Fitzgerald, and then, of course, Linden, and then, of course, that win against Dearborn Devon Child.
And they have 2 shutouts.
Yeah, and 2 shutouts in that way. 2 of them.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get a shot in the white this year. They couldn't even get one.
No. And here's a telling thing, too, of the quality of this team. I mean, yeah, they lost to Clarkston in the crossover, 23-12, but they gave them a game.
They gave him a game.
Right?
They gave him a game, yeah.
Who's now in the Division I final.
Now in the Division I final. So, what does that say about Harrison? What does it say about this team?
They're peaking at the right time.
They're playing well. They're going to get tested for sure.
Absolutely.
When they play Muskegon. Muskegon's a very good quarterback.
13-0.
Yeah, they're undefeated too, which we're going to preview that one. But let's look at the other 2 teams here. Let's look at Clarkston. Nobody gave Clarkston a chance.
I did. Well,
nobody. I mean, when you look at the Wolves, I mean, I think they kind of had a nice draw. They kind of had that favorable draw where they had to go to the west side of the state, basically, to
I don't know if that's favorable though. Going to the west side, that's not usually favorable. But the
taking on Grand Blanc, and then you
the
go
teams
in and
you're playing. Yeah,
you go into Davis and just lay a whooping on them, and then of course I think that the game that brought that team together was Holland West Ottawa, because here's a team that was down 22-6.
Yes,
had to come back, and pulled off basically was a stunner, 29-6.
23 unanswered.
Yeah, 29-22. What does that say? What does that say about Clarkston? And then, of course, they take on nobody Detroit Catholic Central. I think a team that was lucky to get there after Plymouth Canton really screwed it up last weekend. So, I mean, first of all, you don't go for 2 against nobody Detroit Catholic Central. I'm sorry. If I'm Tim Bechet, I think that's their coach's name, yep. I mean, he's made some real dumb decisions, in my opinion. He's made some real dumb decisions. But
in the heat of the battle, you call what you think you should do.
But I remember his play call back in 2010 against Plymouth, which I thought was
going
horrible,
the way back,
which I thought was terrible. And then the game 2 weeks ago when Canton had CC beat, you could have just went to overtime, and instead you go for the win, and you screw that up.
Hey, they went for the win though.
They did.
They did not shy away, and it didn't work out.
Yeah,
but holy moly.
For CC, they take on Clarkston.
Yeah.
Of course, a team that
Watched some of that game. On the live Fox stream, dude.
Yes, you did. And Clarkson just laid a whooping.
And
it was 27-7.
Yes, and I don't think it was that close. Watching that game, it wasn't even that close.
And here's the thing. I mean,
key injury.
Clarkson's running game was dominant. It was dominant.
It was, even with their number 2.
Yeah, even with, they had 2 very good run backs, and Josh Cantu, Michael Flugel. Cantu, before he got hurt, he had 21 carries for 95 yards.
Yeah, he was unstoppable.
He was 21 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What does that say? And then, of course, when Cantu gets hurt, you give it to Michael Flugel. Flugel, we know what Flugel can do.
Yes.
And Flugel goes for...
He went off. He went crazy.
Oh, he went crazy. I mean, he had 19 carries for 105 yards and 3 touchdowns. And this is against a nobody Detroit Catholic Central defense. That was pretty good.
Yes. And it was a ridiculous yards per carry. I mean, and they were slicing. I mean, chunk yards, chunk. They just couldn't stop them.
No.
And it was. I don't know if you got a chance to tune in there, Sam, but it was not like what Harrison was experiencing weather-wise.
No.
It was
ugly.
Ugly. And you could barely see the action going on. The water on the lenses and. Just the crowd is just miserable out there.
Yeah,
cold.
you could tell the crowd was miserable. I know it was miserable at Rochester. I know
awful. That. And was that a natural field?
That's on turf.
It's a
Wall
turf.
Lake Western's turf.
Yes, and you could see it puddling. I mean, it was a lake. And Clarkston didn't even flinch. They just ran right through them.
And then you got to look at Clarkson's defense. I mean,
yes.
What did they nobody Detroit Catholic got a very good running back. They got a very good running back. They shut him down.
Yep.
Pretty similar to what they did to Tariq Reed-Davison.
Yeah.
Pretty similar to what he did against Holland West Ottawa. But what started the whole game was an interception by Cody Hughes. That started everything. And then, which led to Cantu's first score. And then, of course, and then that's when Flugel took over. Flugel just basically took over.
Did you hear any information on the injury?
I don't know what the injury is.
Okay.
But expect him to play in the state final.
Yeah,
I expect him to play. He's a senior.
Yeah, we didn't see him, and that was the first quarter we got hurt.
Yeah,
correct?
It was in the second quarter. I thought.
Second quarter,
yeah.
Okay, because we were watching texts of the update as it was going, and then we found out that it was streamed by Fox Sports Detroit on their website, and so it was free, and we tuned in, and we're like, "Oh, this was great!" And you're like, "Oh my word, look at that weather! It's just awful."
It was
then
awful.
We turned in, then you started watching the game, going, "They're just slicing and dicing that defense."
Slicing and dicing. I mean, it was shocking to
It
see
was-
what was in the. I don't know what it is. You got to give Clarkson's offensive line a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
I mean, nobody talks about Clarkson's offensive line. They don't. I mean, they have 2 freshmen on that line. They have 2 freshmen on that line.
I didn't know that.
They have a bunch of seniors, but 2 freshmen start on that line.
Man.
And they were just dominant. They created holes for Flugel and Adam Cantu, provided protection for Nate Ubali. I don't know how many passes Ubali only had to throw in that game. But I don't think it was a lot.
I don't recall seeing maybe 1 or 2
that Nate Ubali threw.
Yeah.
Man.
But they were. What was the one stat was no turnovers, right?
Yeah,
no
no
turnovers,
turnovers.
and I think 1 penalty, either 1 or none that whole game for Clarkston.
That's insane.
And that is a high level of concentration and focus, and especially running the ball like
That's
that, no
insane,
holding,
especially
right?
against a team like nobody Detroit Catholic Central, a state finalist from a year ago.
Yeah.
But for Clarkston, what does this say? This is gonna be their 3rd state championship game in 4 years. What does it say?
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Like you said, no one really expected the years they got there. Like when they went up, who did they play the first year?
Nobody Detroit Catholic Central.
Okay, and then they were up against
Then they played
Saline.
Saline.
Okay, those teams you knew they were loaded, and you had a good feeling going into the season that they had a shot, especially as a repeat.
Arguably,
right?
I thought Clarkson's best team was 2014.
Yes,
but this is not a good. This is not a vintage Clarkson.
No, not a classic team.
No,
Exactly.
No. Now, when you look at Clarkston, of course, you're saying, okay, you got to run the ball. At least you got a little bit of honesty when you look at a wide receiver like Tyler Houston, that they got. So, for Clarkson, they did shut down Cameron Ryan. They did shut him down, created turnovers. As mentioned, big win for Clarkson.
Huge. I mean, they just keep rolling. It's just amazing. It really is amazing. The blue and yellow and wing helmets, they're going back to Ford Field again.
Third time in 4 years.
It's just unbelievable.
Speaking of a team going to Ford Field for their first time ever, it's the West Bloomfield Lakers. I mean, they beat Detroit Cass Tech at Troy Athens 9-7. This is the third loss for Detroit Cass Tech to an OAA team. Third loss. Lost to Lake Orion in 2010, Harrison 2013, and West Bloomfield this year. So when you look at this team, West Bloomfield's defense was literally called out by Detroit Cass Tech for not being physical enough.
Really?
Yeah, they were called out by him. I mean, and you know what they did? Created 5 turnovers.
5 turnovers.
5 turnovers. I mean,
and they shut them out in the first half.
Yeah, shut them out in the first half. It was 9-0. The kicking game was really good by Nick O'Shea. He had 3 field goals, connected 1 from 32, and then 2 from 26.
Wow.
And
that was a 1 p.m. kick too.
That was a 1 p.m. kick too. Yes. And
lousy weather.
And then of course what made things interesting late was West Bloomfield shut Detroit Cass Tech down on 2 occasions. Of course, they got him turnover off a fumble late. But Detroit Cass Tech went and scored a touchdown on a 1-yard touchdown run by Jared Magnan. Made it 9-7.
How much time?
With about a minute to go in the game.
Wow, what a game.
Detroit it gets better. They recovered an onside kick. They recovered an onside kick.
So West Bloomfield's sitting there going, oh no.
West Bloomfield's going like, That's what it is.
Crazy. Momentum.
But, to save the day, West Bloomfield defensive back Makari Page picked off Aaron Jackson to give West Bloomfield their first win to go to their first win to go to the state final.
Unbelievable.
Big win for them.
What really a run. And, we marvel at Clarkston and the Wolves and what they've done, but this trumps all, I think.
This is a good story because when you look at, here's a football team that started off 0-2. They were 0-2.
0-2, yes.
I mean.
Talk about that last week. That was unbelievable.
They didn't even need to use their aerial attack because the weather was so
It was
brutal.
awful.
Bryce Beasley was only 10 of 17 for 68 yards. And Colin Hurd had 9 carries for 68 yards.
Where was the? I guess it was field goals and like you said, turnovers. I mean, was that field position?
Huge. West Bloomfield, Detroit Cass Tech had 5 turnovers, and they turned over 5 times. What does that say? What does that say about West Bloomfield's defense? This is a team. I think we got to give West Bloomfield's defense a lot of credit here.
A ton of credit.
Got to give them a ton of credit.
Ton of credit, and not only did they come to play, but they persevered through that deluge of rain and snow and all that mess, and just wreaked havoc. It's
here's the thing, though, Ian. Here's
crazy.
Detroit Cass Tech's got a number of Division I recruits.
Okay.
So does West Bloomfield. We know about West Bloomfield's Division I recruits. So, when you look at a game where you expect this game to probably be a shootout, but, this is going to be a low-scoring affair in which, when you look at who was the better team here, I thought West Bloomfield was the better team here.
Well, you saying 5 turnovers.
Despite Detroit Cass Tech outgaining West Bloomfield.
Well, there's your turnovers, right? Because let's say you get the ball back or whatever after a punt. Let's say you're on the 35 and you fumble it.
Right.
Boom, short field.
Right.
West Bloomfield is a short field. But 5 turnovers. Name me a team on any level that turns the ball over 5 times and it comes away with a W.
Well, not a lot.
But they almost did it.
Yeah, they almost did it. Detroit Cass Tech had 2 weeks where they needed virtual escapes to basically get to where they were at. The game against Dearborn Fortson, they had to go down the field and score a winning touchdown with about 15 seconds late. And then, of course, Chippewa Valley the following week, where they had to go down and score. They had a 47-yard gain, which led to a 3-yard score.
Yeah.
And, I thought personally, I was hearing this game on Twitter. I'm going like, oh, dear Lord, not again. I was saying to myself, oh, dear Lord.
And you can
imagine how Ron Bellamy and Zach Hilbers were feeling. They're saying probably saying to themselves, oh, dear God.
And you don't think they told them that, said, hey, guess what happened the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And
they know what happened.
And we're standing right here. Here comes the onside kick. And what happened?
Here's the thing. On that onside kick, Bryce Beasley had a chance at that ball. He was the one that had that chance. However, it was him who tried to get it, but Detroit Cass Tech hit him hard, and then they fell down the ball and he recovered the onside kick.
Crazy.
But thankfully for West Bloomfield, Makari Page, only a sophomore, picked off Aaron Jackson. He picked him off with 44 seconds to go.
Huge.
And for that game to go down that route for West Bloomfield, the emotion that this football program has gone through. When you look at the 0-2 start, when you look at Nick O'Shea's father's passing, when you look at that, when you look at the adversity, the schedule they went through, what they went through, Bloomfield Hills in the first round. Of course, the game they had to get revenge.
Oh, yeah.
And then Waterford Mott, they blew them out in Waterford.
41,
shockingly.
41-7.
Yep. And then, of course, to go to Swinehart, backup quarterback, needing a Bryce Beasley, needing a touchdown late from Bryce Beasley to win that game. And to win this game against Detroit Cass Tech, to give Detroit Cass Tech their third loss to an OA school. That, to me, this is clearly West Bloomfield's best team they've ever had.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They've ever had.
Well, Sam, you brought up the 2 losses, right? 2 in a row. They rattle off the rest as W's. We're talking, if I'm adding this up right, you have
11 straight.
You have 5 points, 5-point loss to Wall Lake Western, 4-point loss. 9.
Well, the way they lost to Bloomfield Hills was
a heartbreaker, right?
24-7, they were up, gave up 28.
But you're looking at 9 points is the difference
from
between undefeated. 9 points. Unreal.
I mean, what does that say? And what does that say? When you look at West Bloomfield, this is a team that, they had a lot of expectations.
Yes, and they have for the last 3 years or so.
Last 3 years, but they have finally found a way to put it together.
Yep.
And they have built a foundation. I got to give Ron Bellamy a lot of credit because he put together a foundation that is getting West Bloomfield to be one of the top teams, not only in the league, but also in the state of Michigan.
Absolutely.
But then, of course, you got to look at what does this say about the Red?
Oh, my.
What does this say about the Red?
Well, going back to, you've said it before, we've had discussions in my office about this, Sam, saying how it's almost too difficult at times, right?
It is.
There's teams that traditionally have been strong enough to make the playoffs, but the ORA Red is so deep. I mean, here is case in point, right? That it's so difficult for those other teams that traditionally have made the playoffs in the past because of the realignment, the reshuffling of who's in the red and who's in the white and so on, that now it's such a power conference, so huge, so talented, it just leaves the door shut for some teams.
When you look at a team like you have, of course, this year's crop in the red didn't make playoffs this year. You look at Lake Orion, you look at Oxford, you look at Southfield Arts and Tech, Bloomfield Hills. You look at them and Troy Athens. Those were the teams in the red this year that did not make the playoffs. Yeah. Whereas you look at Rochester Adams, who has a win over Clarkston. They beat Clarkston and then lost by 1 point to West Bloomfield.
Yeah.
I got to wonder how Tony Vitrito's feeling about this.
You can't be happy.
No.
I mean,
you got to be happy for the league. But
absolutely. Happy. I got to rephrase that. You're kind of going, what could have been?
What could have been?
Right.
Had they not give up that tight end touchdown against Utica Eisenhower, who knows? West Bloomfield Adams, that would have been a crazy game.
Yeah.
That game would have been at Rochester Adams.
It
would have been there.
But it is, like you said, Sam, the red is loaded. It's unbelievable. Now, here's a question, too. Has there been a time, and you're the mind to know this answer, any West Side team double up in the state finals? Have we ever had that before?
Well,
have we had West Side? Is there any way that could happen
I got to look at the archives, but, but I know the West Side teams of state have to go through each other, you know, especially when you look at Division I. When you look at Rockford, you look at Holland West Ottawa, you look at East Kentwood, you look at Grand Ledge. They got to go through each other. They kind of split it. You know, when you look at the state of Michigan, they always put the West Side teams always together.
On another bracket.
They always put them on another bracket, you know. So if you think about it, you know, they've got, I mean, there's been some times, but the West Side teams usually meet in the regional final because the East Side has started to have their number. And I think it started back in 2010 where, of course, you know, when you look at that year in Division I with when Lake Orion met Plymouth, Plymouth had to go through Canton, Nova Detroit Cat Central, and Rockford just to get the state final.
Very similar to Clarkston this year.
Very similar. Well, Clarkston.
Well, they lined you up, then they ship you out west, then you come back.
And they ship you up out west and come back. Yeah, that's what Clarkston had to go through. It really was. So when you look at, and then of course you look at Harrison. The white helped Harrison out.
Well, it helped them out that they didn't have to worry about battling their way to the top of their conference. Like, say, if they were in the red or whatever, they didn't have to worry about, we might not make it with a decent team.
You had some teams like Oak Park, Groves, you know.
So let it go through good competition. And that was your discussion last week. The Whites competition level so high that, it's white, but big deal. They can beat anybody.
Hold on now. We got some breaking news here.
Uh-oh.
Yes, we do.
Wait, do we need...
We might need to have some breaking news.
Breaking news.
Bob Lancey's out at Stony Creek.
Oh.
I mean, like, that was...
really?
I mean, like, you know, that was huge. I mean, like, you know, to me, this was not a surprise. You know what I mean?
Out or did he step down?
He stepped down a couple weeks ago. Stony Creek was 5-13 in his 2 seasons under Lancey. They were 3-6 this year, 2-7 in the MAC, and the White this year. You know, of course, we know Bob Lancey came to Stony Creek back in 2016 after serving 41 seasons at Utica Eisenhower.
Yeah. Came out of retirement, didn't he?
He came out of retirement. Well, yeah, he came out of retirement to come back and coach, but, you know, it looked like here it did not work out. And the big problem for Stony Creek was offensively. I mean, offensively, Stony Creek, they only scored 93 points, 20 points lower than Lancey's first year.
Wow.
So it tells me that...
Total. Oh, my.
Total points, you know? So when you look at defensively, Stony Creek improved a little bit. They allowed 211 this year. 243 was allowed last year.
As I recall in the preview show, you chatted them up about that.
It was the defense. It clearly was both sides of the ball. You know?
He acknowledged it. He said, "You're right.
You know,
we have to do a better job."
And Stony Creek, you know, they were competitive. You know, they were competitive in most of the games. You know, when you look at Stony Creek's season, they were very competitive. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. You know, it just didn't work out for Stony Creek.
Yeah.
It really didn't. And
well, the search is on now.
The search is on right now when you look at Stony Creek. Of course, Lancey departs Stony Creek with a 309, 168, and 1 record.
Wow.
I mean, you know, that's incredible.
Yes.
Really is incredible. Stony Creek next year, they're going to return both their quarterbacks, and Frank Patesma, Peyton Youngblood. They're the 2 quarterbacks, and they have Jake Opata coming back. So that is the breaking news is Stony Creek's looking for a new football coach. Bob Lancey officially out at Stony Creek. You know, my thoughts on it was, you know, it's sad, unfortunate. You know, Stony Creek is they're a good football town. You know, they're a good.
They are.
You know, you're dealing with Rochester and Stony Creek, but I know Rochester and Adams, but you know, at the end of the day, I mean, it's about producing results.
Yep.
And Lancey was 5-13 in his 2 years at Stony Creek.
Only 2 years. Wow.
Yeah, he only spent 2 years.
It felt a little bit longer than that.
It kind of did, but you know, Stony Creek was in the red for his first year, and then this year they were in the white. So we'll see what happens going forward there.
Okay.
Okay, now we come back. We're gonna preview the state final matchups between Harrison and Muskegon and West Bloomfield Clarkston here on a special football edition of Oaa Now.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Termini here with Ian Locke here.
Hey, Sam.
Yep, everything going all right?
Going all right. It's a beautiful Monday. We're recording this, so beautiful sunny day out there.
Yep.
46 degrees,
46
comfortable.
degrees, comfortable,
Turkey Day coming up soon this week.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of football coming.
Oh, yeah. When you look at
Turkey
college football, of course, you got Michigan, Ohio State week.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan State, Rutgers.
Yeah. Lions
playing Minnesota on Thanksgiving. I mean, a lot of football.
A ton of football.
Ton of football on Turkey Day.
Plus, we've got smoked in fantasy.
Yes, so.
Anthony is going to take me down in the most unpleasant way today.
Yeah, it is what it is, We'll see. I mean,
lots of football.
Yes, we is. Lots of football. We're going to preview the three OAA teams still in the state final. Of course, two of them are playing each other in the Division I final. Let's go to the Division III state final, which is going to be played on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at Ford Field. It is Harrison taking on Muskegon. Muskegon comes in with a undefeated record coming in. I believe they're 13-0 coming in. They got a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
When you look at the Big Reds. But, Muskegon's path relatively has been very interesting, especially when you look at the teams they've had to play in the Ottawa-Kent Conference. Of course, I believe they're in the Green Division of the Ottawa-Kent.
Okay.
But they played Muskegon Mona Shores. They played Muskegon. Played a lot of, normally, when you look at Muskegon, you always got to think of their epic rivalry with Rockford. But now when you look at enrollment now, it's affected both teams now. They don't play it a lot as they used to. But now Harrison's going to be playing Muskegon. Of course, the last time Harrison took on a team from the west side of the state, they got trounced by East Grand Rapids.
Okay, so I'm looking here, Sam. For those of you who don't know, the record, right, undefeated. But also, there's some teams like Pioneer was their first. Ann Arbor Pioneer. They played them the first matchup of the season.
Yep.
It looks like there was a home game, 56-0.
Good.
Now, Pioneer traditionally is not a get rolled by 56.
No, they don't not traditionally get rolled by 56.
Not like that. So I believe they're in the SEC conference nowadays.
Yeah, they're in the SEC. Yep.
So
not the Southeastern Conference, but
Southeastern Conference for
Michigan, not college football.
Football. No, and then they rolled allowed one touchdown against who is that? Lincolnshire Stevenson from Illinois. A team from Illinois rolled up here.
Jeez Louise, Illinois team rolled up from up here.
Fruitport's
always interesting.
68-0 shellacking. They beat Fruitport.
68-0.
And then on the road at Byron Center, 63-14. They're the winner.
Ouch.
Muskegon rolls into Reese Puffer, 61-0.
You gotta be kidding.
And then Grand Rapids Union, 70-0. Grand Rapids Kenowa Hills.
Kelowna
Hills, 54-0. These are all consecutive games now, Sam. I'm going in order. The only team that really gave them a game was Muskegon Mona Shores.
Yeah, Mona Shores is pretty good.
35-24.
Yeah, Mona Shores is pretty good football.
On the road.
Mona Shores is a pretty good football team.
Jenison on the road at Jenison, 66-7. The winner there, Holland's throws some teams together, right?
Yeah, Holland. When we got Holland West Ottawa there, and you got Holland.
Holland, they win at home against Holland. That's a playoff matchup.
Yeah,
so,
they played their games in the playoffs at Grand Haven.
Okay, so that was 47-6. We know Zealand West. We talked about that already.
Zealand West, we know about them.
55-20, the victory. DeWitt, 49-0.
You know, let me get back to the DeWitt. DeWitt is normally a pretty good team.
Yes.
They are normally good.
49-0.
What Muskegon did to them was just insane. They destroyed them. They killed them.
Muskegon has 7 shutout games this season. 7.
Their offense is for real. Their offense is insane.
Well, it's the offense, but also the defense.
Their defense is pretty good over there, too. They're athletic. They're talented. You know, what does it say?
They've allowed no more than 24 points all season in one game. It's 7. They allowed 7 points, 14 points, 7, 6.
Ouch.
20. That's it.
And then their game last week against Battle Creek, Harbor Creek.
Yeah, 42-0.
Jeez Louise.
What's happening here?
Here's something. They got a read option quarterback. Very good quarterback. They're a very athletic team. Defensively, they are solid.
Read option can cause havoc.
They're a solid team. I mean, they'll run a read option. They'll spread you out. I mean, you know, they find ways to They'll run that zone read too. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can see they're the clear favorite going in.
They're favored. They're the clear favorite. If I'm John Harrington, if I'm their defensive staff, how am I preparing Harrison against this type of team when you know you don't have, you know you're going to be a superior underdog in this game? How are you preparing this team for this type of attack?
I don't know. I just know that you wouldn't. Remember when the read option just kind of came into fashion and the defenses had no idea what to do with it, right? So
what does it say?
You gotta have a spy on the quarterback,
obviously,
right?
Obviously,
spy the quarterback, and you better be disciplined because I don't know their breakdown of run to pass, Muskegon, the way they do it, but you know the read option's usually a run heavy,
right?
And if you're not ready for the deception of that read option, they can pick you apart.
Yeah, but
very,
when you look at
very
Muskegon,
quickly,
you know this is a team. You know, they're normally playing at the highest level of expectation.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the game, I mean, Muskegon is very, very athletic. You know, they are freakishly athletic.
So we were looking at speed.
Muskegon's the top-ranked team in the state in Division III, and Harbor Creek was ranked 4th in the state. 4th in the state. What does it say? You know, what does it say? You know, they were. I mean,
Muskegon knows how to score. I mean,
they got some really good kids on that team. They got some really good kids. And Muskegon does. You know, you knew that they were going to be a big underdog, but you know what you didn't know was in the USA Today poll, Muskegon is ranked 15th in the country.
Yeah,
15th in the country.
I mean,
they're led by their senior quarterback, Ladarius Jefferson. He's been offered a scholarship to go to Michigan State.
Go green.
Yeah, and then they have a big offensive line, you know, led by a Penn State commitment and Antoine Reed, who's 6'6", 325.
Oh, my.
Yep.
That's a big boy. 325 already?
Yeah.
18-year-old.
And then Anthony Bradford, who's got offers from Alabama, Georgia, and Michigan State.
What position?
Lineman, 6'6", 330.
Oh, my. Twin Towers.
Yeah, what does that? And then they got 6 players being offered Division I scholarships.
Loaded. But
does Harrison, in their right frame of mind, have any shot at pulling the upset off here?
Everybody has a chance, right? That's why they play the game. But they've got their work cut out for them. They've shown to be more than ready to accept these challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it all playoffs long. But this is a different beast altogether, I think. It's going to be a tough one. I had no idea. I mean,
they got 2 linemen.
That huge.
They're huge.
There's 2 dudes, and we've seen it on some other. I mean, Lake Orion back in the day, didn't they? I mean, their offensive line was monstrous.
They were monsters.
And you had 3. I think there were 3 of them at that point.
Yeah, Trev Harmon, Roger Ellison, and
and dominated. Right, they just opened them holes. So if you got two guys that big, I'm sure they got some other dudes sitting next to them that are equally as large. They're going to have a hard time.
And with the lack of depth Harrison has, this is an NFL-sized team that Harrison's going against.
6'6", 320 already.
And then he got 6'5", 330,
Crazy.
What does that say? I mean, Harrison's going to have their hands full in this.
They are.
They're going to have their hands full. There's no doubt about it. Because Muskegon's a team in which, when you look at this matchup, they're going to be playing for emotion. This may be Harrison's last chance at the state championship. But, Muskegon, this is a team that, very athletic, very talented. I mean, this is going to be a tough matchup. No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a quarterback like Darius Jefferson, read option kid, he accounted for 5 touchdowns, 4 more on the ground against Battle Creek, Harbor Creek.
How many? 4?
5. He accounted for 5 touchdowns, 4 more on the ground. And their last 4 playoff wins, Muskegon outscored their opponents 193-26.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane.
And, we're talking about the offense, which is kind of awe-inspiring. I mean, it's just jaw-dropping.
And as you say this year, you're right, 7 shutouts. 11-13 by a margin of 35 points.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But also, their defense has to be solid as well if they're pitching shutouts.
I agree.
So, I mean, they're
but
loaded on both sides.
But you got to look at the competition, though. You know what I mean?
True.
Competition,
I
that's
agree.
always an important thing. When you look at the strength of competition, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to wonder that. Whereas Harrison's played virtually like the gods of death, Muskegon, I don't know what you got to look at their schedule.
Well, let's. I'll dig it up here. I was trying to find out when the games are on. You said it was 7:30
approx time. Yeah,
and I was trying to see if it was going to be live or not.
It's going to be on Fox Sports Detroit Plus.
Plus, okay, so it's in the extra.
Yeah, it's going to be
plus. So that will be streamed.
That will be streamed.
Is that what the plus is? Okay.
No, that will be streamed. It'll also be on TV, of course.
So they'll do the delay.
Yeah,
delay.
they'll probably do the delay.
Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night game for sure.
Okay, so it'll be late before you'd see that game.
It'll be late before you see that game, but you can catch that game for sure.
All right, so I have the OK Conference black standings for Muskegon.
Yeah, okay. I thought they were in the green, but they're in the black.
It says the black. So obviously they finished at the top.
Yeah, obviously.
They were 6-0.
Obviously.
Mona Shores was 5-1.
They were a playoff team.
Yep, 9-2 overall.
Yep, they were a playoff
no slouch.
Team.
And
yep.
Mona Shores, how did they handle Mona Shores?
They handled them
35-24. It was
tight.
But Mona Shores gave them the closest match.
Right.
Jennison was 4-2, 5-4 overall.
Yeah,
4-2.
I don't think Jennison didn't get in the playoffs.
They did not.
No.
Kanawha Hills, right?
Kanawha Hills, yep.
They were 3-3 in conference, 4-5 overall.
They didn't get in the playoffs. So basically, now you look at that schedule.
And Reese Puffer was 5-4 overall, didn't get in, and 2-4 in conference.
No, so that pretty much explains Muskegon's path. They've had a pretty nice, easy path. Whereas Harrison, on the other hand, kind of like that. They avoided playing Dearborn Devon Child, but for Harrison to get back here, 18 state final appearance, and for them, if they can get this win, they pull this one off. It'll be Harrington's 14th straight state. It was 14th state championship.
Well, Sam, maybe your argument goes to what it was last week. The competition Harrison is going up against has been superior, potentially to Muskegon.
Yeah.
The only difference I see is a lot of shutouts and a lot of points scored. The other teams on the other side of the docket that Harrison's gone up against, I don't see them as a juggernaut like this.
No, this is a juggernaut Harrison's facing.
It is, and they're rolling down here hill and playing with house money, and that's a dangerous combo.
Thing. And I think for Harrison, it's a team that's got nothing to lose in this one. They got nothing to lose. I mean, when you look at Muskegon, Muskegon's supposed to be the team that rolls everybody over.
Yes.
They're supposed to be the team. If Harrison can keep this one close, if they can keep this one close, probably late in the fourth quarter, you know what I mean? Who knows?
All right. I'm looking here in Fox Sports Detroit and Division 8, Ottawa Lake what was that? Whiteford versus Saginaw Nouvelle.
Yeah.
Novell. They're at 10 a.m., so that's the early game. Division 2.
The evens are Friday, and then the evens are Friday, and the odds are Saturday.
Okay, so
let's preview the Division 1 matchup.
Okay, Division 1.
Which is West Bloomfield and Clarkson.
At 1 p.m. live. That should be the live one, 1 p.m.
This is going to be a rematch of a game 37-15 in favor of West Bloomfield. What they did to Clarkson in the swamp. They went and destroyed Clarkson in the swamp. But now when you look at West Bloomfield's offense now indoors, going to probably have to release that aerial raid attack.
Yeah.
So when you look at that matchup, for West Bloomfield, I think they're the prohibitive favorites in this one, despite the fact that Clarkson's got experience here at Ford Field.
Yes. Yes. And you can't. How many guys on this team have been there? There's got to be a number of them.
There's got to be. I know Mike Flugel was on there.
Okay. So, like you said, they know the venue. Mm-hmm. The coaching staff knows the venue. They know how to get their guys ready. They've been there 2 other times.
Right.
This is their 3rd. They know what to expect. They're going to travel well. It's going to be a sea of maize and blue or whatever,
and
yellow
green and
blue, green and white on the other side. How ironic. What an ironic little situation there. West Bloomfield hasn't even sniffed Ford Field ever.
No,
right? This is their first time ever. So
do you think there's going to be pregame jitters for West Bloomfield against Clarkson?
There has to be. To say, you've got 16, 17, 18-year-olds, sometimes 15, you're going to get the nerves. You're going to have the knees knocking, especially when you walk into the
turf of Ford Field.
The turf and the barn. You're going to see how big it is. Just the idea of going, are they going to go in and say, we're just happy to be here? I don't think so.
I don't think so. They want to win a state championship.
Yes, their coaching staff won't let them do that.
No. And I know Bellamy. I know Ron Bellamy very well, more than anybody.
Yeah.
And this is a team that's went through a lot. They're playing for something, of course, as we mentioned earlier about Nick O'Shea and his father.
Yes.
And, I think this benefits West Bloomfield than it does Clarkson, because now when you look at this matchup, the reason why I'm saying this is because West Bloomfield has an aerial attack that they didn't throw much against Troy Cass Tech.
Well, weather was kind of crazy.
Weather was kind of bad. Now you're going indoors, and basically there's no wind. So basically, if you're Nick O'Shea going to Ford Field, you must be loving this because you're playing indoors. If you're Bryce Beasley, you're loving this because now you can go out there and air it out.
Yeah.
And, Clarkson's secondary, has been very suspect. The last
Plus West Bloomfield, didn't they take down Clarkson earlier?
And they took down Clarkson earlier.
Right, so there's a confidence boost.
There's a confidence boost right there. And the fact that West Bloomfield knows Clarkson.
Yeah, inside and out.
They know him inside out because they played in the league.
Well, deja vu,
It's deja vu over again. So when you look at this matchup, this is a matchup where it clearly has to favor West Bloomfield because of not only their athleticism, but because of the fact that, I think personally West Bloomfield's playing a more tougher schedule to get to the playoffs. Of course, as we mentioned, I think West Bloomfield went through a tougher road than Clarkson. Because you look at what the Wolves went through. Yeah, the game I think that really got them going, that really brought them together was that Howell West Idaho game.
Yes.
But when you look at West Bloomfield, they went through virtually very, very tough. It was very
Eisenhower,
tough.
Eisenhower, yeah.
Ike's always good, but Ike's had their backup quarterback playing. But if they had Max Whitmer,
who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
If they had Max Whitmer, who knows?
It could be Eisenhower sitting.
It could be Eisenhower sitting there. But it's not.
Yes. And looking back, they met on September 15th, Clarkston and West Bloomfield.
It was in the swamp.
Yep.
It was at West Bloomfield.
And it was a 37-16 victory.
37-15.
Okay, so I'm just reading off the MHSAA board. So
it was 37-15.
Okay, 37-15.
Yep.
Never argue with Sam.
Yep.
And it was they beat them pretty handily.
It was interesting. When you look at recapping that game, the difference in that game, Veasley was a difference maker in that one. I mean, like, Veasley, he had a really nice game against Clarkson. Of course, that was a game where Trayvon Mosley went off in that game. I mean, like, Mosley had a big game. I mean, he was, of course, this was coming off of West Bloomfield had a big win against Lake Orion, that got them.
49-21.
Yes, it was 49-21 in that one. But, when you look at that game, I mean, Clarkson, you never knew what was going to happen with Clarkson, I mean, West Bloomfield, what they did, of course, Trey Mosley was huge. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. He had 3 touchdowns. When you look at that one, Veasley threw, he had one to Taj Mustafa, and then the other 3 to Mosley. So yeah. Veasley was responsible exposing Clarkson secondary.
And it was good weather early in the season, roughly, fourth game in. Mm-hmm. All cylinders clicking, and from there, they didn't look back.
No, they didn't look back in that one. I mean, West Bloomfield had 21-0 lead early in the third quarter in that game. That was insane.
Took their foot off the gas, or do you think Clarkson turned it on?
Well, I kind of think Clarkson kind of turned it on a little bit, but, then Colin Hurd, of course, ran the ball on a 22-yard scamper. You know what I mean? 22-yard run.
Yeah.
I mean, Hurd in that game had 103 yards rushing in that one. And the difference was Nick Seidel, their defensive back, had 2 interceptions in that game off Uvalde. So when you look at that matchup, Clarkson has some issues in that game, West Bloomfield. I mean, the only one that played really well in that game was Josh Cantu, and he had 105 yards. That was rushing.
Yeah.
Clarkson had 1 touchdown. What was Nate Ubaldi to Connor Donahue, 49-yard touchdown pass.
Okay.
I mean, it was literally West Bloomfield literally killed Clarkson that game.
Well, one thing coming into this finals is what I don't think you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see 200 yards on the ground by Clarkson.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. Not like the last couple weeks.
No. The way West Bloomfield's been playing, ever since that Utica-Eisenhower game, especially late, I mean, they found a way, to do very well. And, of course, let's not forget, they limited Detroit Cass Tech to just 7 points. Yeah. They were called out. They were called out by Detroit Cass Tech. And you know what? I'm glad that West Bloomfield did not go on the social media and just get into a trash talk war with them. And they showed up on the field.
Didn't that happen? Who was calling out Clarkson the one week? Didn't that happen, too, on the radio? You're saying up...
Davison.
Yeah.
Davison called out Clarkson. I remember that.
And we're learning that never ends well.
No, it never does, and...
At any level.
One thing you don't do is you do not call out certain teams. With Davison, you don't call Clarkson out.
It's one thing to be comfortable or confident, I should say. Be confident.
Yeah, be confident in what you do.
But
Davison, Davison, they had everything. They had Clarkson where they wanted him. Every night, in the rain, and you know what happens? They go out lay an egg.
Laid an egg, yeah.
And then, Detroit Cass Tech, of course, here's a team that's went to 7 straight state semifinals. West Bloomfield's a team that, they thought, okay, we're going to roll over these guys and basically because West Bloomfield hasn't been here. You know what West Bloomfield does? They go and beat them.
Yep.
Their defense comes and shows up, and they use 3 field goals from Nick O'Shea. That's the difference in that game.
Yep. And I think, too, going into the finals here for West Bloomfield, a couple close games, something you really have to dig down and show your mettle to get through some of these tough games. There's one thing to have blowout after blowout. I mean, do you really learn about your team? We heard, some college coaches speak on it over the weekend going, hey, yeah, we can blow people out, but you learn more in a loss, or you learn more when adversity is staring you in the face.
I think you learn a lot more when adversity is more in your face. I mean, and both these teams have went through adversity in the playoffs. I mean, West Bloomfield, Utica, Eisenhower, and Detroit Cass Tech, Clarkson with Holland West Ottawa.
Yes.
I mean, these two teams have been battle tested. I mean, clearly been battle tested.
Yeah.
I mean, these two teams are clearly not the same teams as we saw back in the week 4 matchup where West Bloomington just dominated Clarkson.
I'm still laughing, though. I can't believe 2 from the Red are in there. It was just, I was shaking my head all Saturday going, I cannot believe this happened. I think you called it.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is the first time ever in state history
that two teams same division.
Same division are in the state championship game.
Didn't know that.
You didn't know that. A lot of things you didn't know. Of course, remember Sean Charette?
That goes without saying.
A lot of things. Of course, remember Sean Charette?
Yeah.
2008, first ever freshman quarterback to play in the state championship game. Unfortunately, Lake Orion didn't win that game.
No, but they redeemed themselves. What?
They battled Rockford to the death.
Yeah.
But when you look at this game, when you look at these games, I mean, when you look at these two games, Any
final thoughts on this, starting with Harrison?
When you look at these two games, who you got on Saturday night between Muskegon and Harrison?
I say Muskegon. Just reading off that offensive line, if they're doing the read option thing, that can really throw you for a loop, especially if they do it well and you have an offensive line that
huge,
capable.
And they're huge.
I'm going to go with Muskegon.
You think Muskegon wins that one?
Yeah, Harrison's still my sentimental favorite, but I think Muskegon takes it.
I've got to go with Muskegon, unfortunately, because when you look at that game, I just think that Muskegon's offensive line too much.
Yeah.
I think their quarterback's going to have a huge game. But Harrison's defense is going to keep it close. I think it's going to be probably in the 27-17 range. But
they just got to keep them big plays down.
They just got to keep the big plays down. If they keep the big plays down, then I think it's going to be, Harrison could win this game, but we'll see what happens there in that one. But I just think too much Muskegon over Harrison.
That is a 7:30
kickoff on Saturday night. And then the last one here, Division I.
Yeah.
We got West Bloomfield, Clarkson. Who do you got?
Oh, God. I don't know, man. I'm going to go West Bloomfield because this is their first shot at it, and I think they're just cage animals ready to go. I think they're ready to go. They've proved against Cass Tech and Eisenhower. I think they're ready. I think they're going to win it.
I'm going to go at West Bloomfield here in this one because the aerial attack, I think, is going to be they haven't released that aerial attack in about 2 weeks. So when you look at it here, I don't trust Clarkson secondary at all. I really do not trust Clarkson secondary when you look at that matchup. I think that Clarkson's a little too one-dimensional when you look at it. Of course, they like to run it a lot. They like to
little ball control.
A ball control type of team, but I think at the end of the day here, I just think that West Bloomfield's got everything going for them right now. They're playing well right now. I got West Bloomfield knocking off Clarkson in this one. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than 37-15, but I think West Bloomfield will win this game over Clarkson.
Yeah, I think it'll be close, but I think West Bloomfield takes it.
I agree. Okay, now everybody, I'm going to sign off here. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody here.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, Sam.
And good luck to all 3 OA teams competing in the state championship games this weekend over at Ford Field. I'm Sammy Termina signing off. See you all next week, everybody.
See ya. Oaa Now is a production of ONTV, and the views and ideas and thoughts and all that good stuff are Sammy Taramina's and mine alone, not those of ONTV's board of directors or their staff. Take it easy, everybody. If you'd like to learn more about our internet radio station, call us at 248-393-1060.